All right, we'll get started pretty soon here. Just going to get everything set up. So let me know if you're watching and who you are, and also where you're from, so I can get an idea of how to gear this for you. And give it a couple minutes. Do the disclaimer, and then we'll get started here. That's a good question. I'll get to it in a sec. Got a lot of questions I'm gonna answer today, so we're gonna try to make this awesome for you guys. All right, so it is 8 o'clock. Let's get started. How are you guys today? How is your life? How is your life wearing masks everywhere you go with your herniated discs? Hello, Andy. So, first of all, let's get some things out of the way. Disclaimer, I'm not your doctor. This is for information purposes, okay? Let me see. Am I looking at the camera here or am I looking here? I think I'm looking over here. I'm not your doctor. This is YouTube. This is for entertainment purposes. If you're unsure about that, there's an entire disclaimer down below. I am not giving you advice. You are not to follow this advice. If you follow this advice, that is a bad mistake. And the reason why is because this is YouTube. This is not medical information. This is not chiropractic information. This is not any type of information other than entertainment purposes. I am not your doctor. This is not a Zoom appointment, okay? So, yada, 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 read the disclaimer. What I'm gonna do though is if you do have a question, I'm gonna answer it in a way that I would answer the way I answer to patients. So if you have questions, you're free to put them in there. And hello, Marie Antoinette, welcome back. And so there's that, so the disclaimer. The second thing is I have a new thing on the channel, and that is if you look below the actual video itself, there is some merchandise, and I have some merchandise. So we're selling masks. So if you want to buy a mask, it has on there, I got it said, realistic advice based on experience. So that's my tagline. So you can buy a mask, they're really cheap. You can buy a t-shirt, you can buy a teacup or a coffee cup. If you do buy a t-shirt or something like that, I really do appreciate it because YouTube is a lot of work. And other than getting, you know, a 20th of a penny for every 1,000 hits, this is not a big money maker. So I would like to make money at it. That'd be great. I make money actually seeing real live patients. I don't see patients for entertainment purposes on YouTube. If you ever see any of my videos dealing with patients, these are real life patients. These are not patients that put their makeup on and put a certain style of dress on in order to entertain you. I don't have microphones in my office accentuating the sounds of chiropractic. So these are real patients that I see, and I deal with real problems. And so what we're gonna do today is we're getting a lot of questions popping up here. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to start off dealing with some questions that people have, and we will start off with the top chat, and then I'm gonna go into a lot of the questions I was getting throughout the week. We had a very busy week, so I was unable to get to answering questions on YouTube. So let's get started with some of the questions. What is the difference between chiropractic neurology and medical neurology? Well, That's an excellent question. The chiropractic neurologists deal a lot with what's called functional neurology, and it's all based upon what the eventual treatment will become. So, neurology, for example, when you think of reciprocal inhibition, Sherrington's law of reciprocal inhibition, when your bicep contracts, your tricep relaxes, and we look for functional problems in the central nervous system as well as the peripheral nervous system. Whereas medical neurology would look primarily for disease states such as tumors, infections, and things of that nature. Now, both professions, in theory, should understand when to refer to the other, but in real life, I think the chiropractic neurologists that I know will understand when something needs to be sent to a medical radiologist, but the medical radiologist may not be referring or understand what a chiropractic neurologist is. So that's the way it goes. Let's see, Andy R., good evening. Race lever, you don't wear a mask. Fight the power. John, Steve, when doing a bird dog exercise, how important is keeping your spine in a proper position? Well, it's vital. You have to keep your spine in the proper position, otherwise it's not going to work. You wouldn't want to put it in an improper position, say a neutral spot. That's the whole point of the bird dog. The whole point of a bird dog is this. You're going to put your spine into the perfect position where there's the least amount of stress on the discs, and you're going to strengthen your muscles in that position. That's the whole point. And that's why, is injury likely doing that exercise improper? Well, anybody can find a way to do an exercise improperly and get injured. The good news about the bird dog is that pain will generally tell you when you're doing something wrong. There should be no pain and no numbness when you're doing the bird dog. So hopefully that helps you. My advice, Steve, is don't do it wrong. Do it properly, then you don't have to worry. I tell patients this, though. For example, a deadlift. A deadlift is actually a fantastic exercise to increase the strength of your posterior chain, your hamstrings, your glutes, your back. The problem with the deadlift is that if you do it improperly, you can have disastrous results, meaning that you end up having surgery. The good news is about the bird dog is if you do it totally improperly, because you are not weight bearing on the spine, it's unlikely to have devastating problems. So I like to give patients exercises where if they totally screw it up, they're not going to hurt themselves. But if they do it correctly, they're going to get great benefit. The problem with the deadlift is if they do it totally properly, they'll get great benefit. But if they do it improperly, they may not see me anymore. They may end up with surgery. So hopefully that helps you. All right, let's see what else we got here. Hey, Dr. Story, I have a problem since 2018, 12-year problem. Some dude drop table saw on my went to PT today, 6th, L4, L5, L5S1, and S1. All I want to know where to go. My PT wants to 1 time per week every Saturday. I'm lost. Maybe you can rephrase the question because I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you asking, should you follow the physical therapist's advice? I would say yes, if that's your question. All right, John, Steve, I have bad posture already, so it's hard to know if I have my spine in the best position for the exercise. I read Back Mechanic and watched your videos, a bit confused. Okay, Back Mechanic is a great book. If you're confused, read it again, because it's a great book. If you have bad posture, that's the whole point of my videos. So read Back Mechanic. I have a number of, let me look them up, you know what? Let me look them up. Let me show you something that you should know how to do. Is, let's look right here. So I'm looking at my computer, and when you look at my page here, there's a thing right there that has a little magnifying glass. And that magnifying glass, you can essentially look up anything. So I'm just going to hit the word posture. Okay, so if you want to look at postural exercises, you can. And here we go. There's just a number of self-help methods that I've given away on exercise, such as the foundation training, Brugger's exercise, how to fix your own posture and alignment. There's a great video on that I did. That's a year old. Band pull-aparts, how to fix forward head posture, how to fix your neck pain. So what I would do if I were in your shoes, if you're looking at how to change your posture, is I would watch, and I'm not trying to be self-serving here, watch all my videos. When you type in posture, you've got neck exercises, you've got 21 videos on just the core, that's part of your lower back. You've got neck, you've got shoulder. Watch them all, start doing the exercises, and actually in the whole core training videos, I just put my GoPro on the floor and did the 10-minute routine that I personally do. So why don't you just do that, follow along with that. And that will alter your posture over a period of time. Back mechanic is specific towards the lumbar spine, but not your entire spine. Dr. McGill, he's a great researcher. The challenge is there's not a whole lot that he talks about other than the lower back, because the lower back is where the majority of the surgeries happen, and it costs industry a tremendous amount of money. So hopefully that helps you, Steve. Hey, Philippines. All right. Someone's message is held for review. Okay, yeah, knock it off with the politics. I don't give a rat's. Good evening. Can neck bones fuse together on their own? Yes, they actually can. Neck fusion can happen two different ways. Number one, naturally, and number two, surgically. 49, Nur Muhammad. Good morning, Dr. Sir. I am 49 and had a backache whenever I sit for quite some time. It's morning in Singapore. All right. I have a number of videos on how to deal with sitting back pain. So just use the search function, you should find them. If you have a specific question, just ask. Not sure to see a surgeon yet. Rec for, okay, L4, L5S1. Okay, so not sure whether to see a surgeon. So how do you know if you should see a surgeon? That's a good question. Oh, actually, also, there's a thing called Super Chat, and if you find this video helpful and appreciate that I'm helping you, there's a thing called Super Chat. Right below the top chat area, there's a little $sign, and if you could donate something, $1.99, $5, $20, whatever you want to do, I do appreciate it, because it's 8 o'clock Friday night my time, and I finished with work about an hour and a half ago. Just ate a quick dinner, and I'm doing this. So if you can donate a little something, that'd be appreciated. So how do you know you should see a surgeon? When all conservative measures are not working. So if you've given them enough time to try, a good chiropractor will tell you that, hey, we tried our best, we've done everything we can, and maybe you should see a surgeon. That's how you know. How do I find a corrective chiropractor versus relief chiropractor? I need to find that will do like you did all the other day in your video on cervical spine. I think that's BS. I think it's marketing. Corrective chiropractor versus a pain relief chiropractor. Those are terms that chiropractors use to try to scare you into their style of treatment, plain and simple. You don't go to school and get a degree in corrective chiropractic, and you can go to a different school and get a degree in relief chiropractic. Like I said, I think it's bull. So what you'll find is the ones that are calling themselves, and I'm not talking about me. The way I see it, I never try to I try to give patients relief. Duh, that's why they come to you. That's why a patient actually sees you. They don't come for any other reason other than they want relief of their problem. But in order to relieve their problem, you got to correct the problem. I don't know why healthcare has demarcated one is the devil and one is an angel. There is, people will advertise themselves as corrective care. Be wary, though, of how to choose a chiropractor. I actually did this today. I had a patient who is leaving our practice and moving out of state. There's a lot of people moving out of California. Some of our friends are leaving. It's just like, oh man, I mean, whatever. But if you see an advertisement for corrective chiropractor and they want to sign you up for $6,000 worth of treatment before, after seeing your x-rays and stuff, I say run. So if you go to that search function and you type in how to find a chiropractor, you'll hear the story of what happened to me. I had one of the greatest chiropractors I ever met, and I was fortunate enough to at least live somewhat close to him. It was about an hour or 15 minutes away, was Richard Gohl in Glendale. And he took care of me, man. I felt like $1,000,000, and I shouldn't, because I've damaged myself like you wouldn't believe from all the extreme, stupid sports that I've done in my life. Anyway, he put Humpty Dumpty back together again type of thing and kept me going. And then he was old and he passed away. And so I had to find a new chiropractor. And dag nabbit, it was hard to find someone that could do what he did. And there's a couple guys in our town who sell prepackaged, your problem is really bad, you need corrective care. You don't want to go to one of those relief chiropractors. In order to correct you, it'll cost $6,000, but if you pay today, it'll only be $4,500. I'd stay away from that. So hopefully that helps you. I consider myself a corrective chiropractor, meaning I'm going to try my best to correct your problem. But, I'm not going to charge you $6,000. I'm going to try to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. So anyway, I went on a tangent there. Let's see. So sorry about that, Andy. But how do you find a good chiropractor? Go to that. Just type in how to find a chiropractor. In my little search function, and I have a whole 15-minute explanation of how to do it, and that's what I tell patients. All right, here we go. Have AFib, so on blood thinner, can't get any pain pills. Yeah, that's a problem. Muhammad, I don't know what language that is. I can't answer that. Again, if you appreciate Nur Muhammad, if you appreciate it, there's a super chat down there. I do appreciate it. Let's see. In your experience, is it a bad sign of a back pain? Is it a bad sign of back pain improves, but tingling in legs still comes and goes at different times from previous back injury? Is it a bad sign that the back pain improves? No. But tingling in legs comes and goes at different times. That's better than it being with you all the time. So if I'm understanding correctly, if your back pain is gone, let's say, and there's tingling in your legs, but it kind of comes and goes, usually, in my experience, it's a matter of time before the tingling starts to improve, as long as there's not permanent nerve damage. Richard Gohl, I've watched some of his videos. Yeah, that's who I learned from, and he was amazing. I wish he was still around too. Let's see, I guess the bottom line is I can't find one that will examine and adjust my neck. They massage the muscles. Well, that's silly. I don't know where you live, but yeah, you got to find someone that, ask if they won't adjust you, ask why. Okay. There was a guy in town who and I don't, I'm not bad mouthing people, but he was new in town, and I contacted him and I said, hey, this was years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, actually. And I said, hey, why don't we have lunch together and we can talk chiropractic and, become friends and stuff. And we were talking and he said, oh, I do active release. I don't really do adjustments. And I was like, what? And I said, hey, I'll help you, because that is the one thing that the only one thing that chiropractors really do that's different than any other profession. I mean, and quite frankly, the physical therapists, they became doctors now. When I graduated, physical therapists were not doctors of physical therapy. They were Joe, or Sandy, But the thing is that chiropractors are, our territory is being stepped on by physical therapists. And number two, osteopathy, which when I graduated, osteopathy, and my primary care doctor is an osteopath, okay? He does not adjust. He doesn't touch you that way. But, I see on YouTube sometimes there's people doing chiropractic and it turns out they're not chiropractors. They're osteopaths. So they're trying to cash in on the skills that we have. We have to be great. We have to be better than great. And when I hear a chiropractor that will not adjust at all and is doing something like massage and things like that, to me, what's the point? Why not just go to a physical therapist, or why not just go to a massage therapist? I mean, you got personal trainers doing active release now. What's the difference between a chiropractor, personal trainer, physical therapist? Everybody knows active release now. So anyway, I get off on tangents. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so find someone, Andy. I'd appreciate it. So again, if you're starting to ask questions, you're new here, find that super chat. Please donate. I do appreciate it for spending Friday nights with you. Let's see. Thank you. Good. My chiropractor charges $5 per adjustment. Wow. That is cheap. What would you say about adjusting on knee, chest versus side posture for lower lumbar? Well, I used to own 3 knee chest tables, and I have found that it is the most wonderful table for the correct patient. There are a number of problems, though, with the knee chest. The first is it can be brutal. So having said that, imagine a patient who's never been to a chiropractor before, and you tell them, get on your knees and bend over, put your head in that slot, and they have no idea what you're doing. That scares the living daylights out of people. It's very difficult to get people to relax in that position for obvious reasons. The second is, I'm in California, man, and one of the things that we do in California is we sue. Everybody sues. They told us in school, if you are a doctor and you have not been sued, then you're just not seeing enough people, because everybody sues for everything. You get an offender bender in a parking lot, man, you're gonna get your butt sued. So there's millions of lawsuits that are going on. So everybody sues. It's like the thing. Imagine that you are a defendant in a malpractice case, and they actually take a video of you putting said patient into the knee chest table and gowning them, and they have their underwear on or something. I mean, can you imagine what a jury of 12 is gonna think? You gotta be crazy to be using the knee chest table. The only time the knee chest table is useful is when everything else fails, in my humble opinion. So if, when I see people, hey, someone gave me a super chat, Andy, thanks, man. Kudos to you. I do appreciate it. So anyway, knee chest table, I found myself not using it that much. I found myself, especially for pregnant women, it was a very effective table. However, I've found better ways to adjust advanced pregnant patients that are much more comfortable, not so awkward, and It works good. So I've found that I just seem to shy away from the knee chest table as I've gotten older. And, you know, it's a cover your tail type of thing. I don't want to be sued and have to explain to a jury why I put that patient in that position, stood behind them and you know, did my thing. So let's see, doctor for 12 years, I helped someone that was friend that hurt me. He dropped the table, saw my whole spine. I've gone to the PT 6-time epidurals. If PT doesn't, what do you think the next routine? I'm not sure what your question is. I think your question is, you're going to get an epidural. Is that correct? So it doesn't this is a good question. It doesn't tell me what the actual problem is. Let's say you have a herniated disc and it's 12 millimeters in your L4 and you're going to get an epidural. What's the next step? Surgery. And as far as surgery, if it is something like that, I would go for a disc replacement rather than a fusion. I think that's what you're asking. So hopefully that helps you, Mikey. I'm gonna see if we get another stimulus check. I'm afraid you're afraid of the chiros here. I don't trust them. I've talked to like 3 and they all just seem like they want to crack my back. Yeah, I understand. It's scary. It is scary. Let's see. Explain why they are gonna adjust you. Wait, I got lost here. Hold on one second. You seem way more knowledgeable than any other I've talked to. Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. By the way, I am nuts. Let me get it. Hold on one second. This is the book. This is my book. And this is by my bed. And I've, over time, advanced. And what I do is I have created a book of how-to. See if you can see it there. And I take notes and I learn. And when I learn something new or I learn something valuable, I put it in my book. And I study. And I try to learn new things that are things that I may have forgotten over the years. I take old textbooks and I go through them again and again and again. And it drives my spouse crazy. Don't you get bored of that book? You've read that like 20 times. No, because you always pick up something new. So I don't do a lot of research on the internet. I do a lot of research through textbooks, legitimate textbooks. So when it's my birthday and it's my, Christmas and stuff, what do I want for Christmas? I want a new textbook. And I like to read various subjects from different disciplines of healthcare, so I'm more well-rounded. So that's what I do. I had a thought the other day. I have a friend that I haven't seen in 20 years who's also a chiropractor. And we just never seem to get together. And I always had this vision because he was very similar. He was a smart guy. And I always thought to myself, one day I'm going to show up at his house, knock on his door, and give him this book of all the things I've learned. And I thought that would be nice. Of course, the problem is I'd probably knock on his door and he's not home. So anyway. Swollen legs staying the same. What could it be? Well, it could be a ton of different things. Swollen legs could be congestive heart failure. So rather than asking me what could it be and giving you a 10 million things it could be, you could just Google swollen legs and see all the things that'll scare you. I would find out why your legs are swollen. Were you on your feet all day and it's just a natural swelling? Or do you have a heart problem? So that's what I would do. Let's see. Again, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it if you guys are watching. And you can donate something. I do appreciate it because I'm doing this for free here. What's your opinion on chiropractors who force adjustments? That always seems like it could make a problem worse. Force adjustments meaning too much force. I always tell patients this. You've got extremely gentle adjustments. Let's call them activator or arthrostim. And you've got the dinger, okay? Those are two extremes. I'm not gonna put a noose around your neck and rip your head off so that you slide across a table. That would be way over here. But for a lot of people, this is way too gentle. So my job is to figure out where you are on that spectrum to give you the best adjustment with the correct amount of force that your body needs to get the job done. I did this probably 10 times today, explain to people that when you do an adjustment, if you're a wee bit sore, just a wee bit sore for a half a day or a day, that's acceptable. Just like personal training. If you work out and you try to change your body and the next day you're a little bit sore, that's perfect. Perfect. But what if you're sore for 3 days? If I was a personal trainer and we worked out together and you were sore for 3 or 4 days, what would be the most logical thing to do the next time you work out? Lower the weights. Exactly. It's the same thing with chiropractic adjustments. So if I adjust you, and I'm like over here, and I adjust you, and you say you were sore for 3 or 4 days, I'm gonna do an adjustment a little softer. But if I do an adjustment here and you say I wasn't sore at all, well then that gives me an allowance to go a little more. So I always like to start off kind of right here and then work my way this way, depending on the patient, of course, and their history. If a 20-year-old football player shows up and he's 295 pounds and I'm like 145, I could lay into that guy and do a forceful adjustment. But if an 89-year-old woman shows up, I'm not gonna yank on her neck. So yeah, you gotta be smart about these things here. All right, so let's see. Then your answer was a revelation. That little laugh of yours explained everything. I forgot what I said. So if we do research on chiros, what would we be looking for? All right. So Jody Johnson. If you go to my page, there's a little thing on the right-hand side that's like a magnifying glass. And what I would do is I would type in that magnifying glass, how to find a chiropractor, okay? I did it's like a 15-minute video of things you should specifically look for on how to find a great chiropractor. It's not Yelp, let's put it that way. Yeah, come on, folks. PRS or PLS, PR or PL, it doesn't matter which side a chiropractor adjusts from. The main element of focus is on its posteriority. I'm gonna say it depends. The answer is yes, but it depends. My experience is that most people are so worried about the rotation or the side of laterality that they're pushing side to side rather than forward to back. And so I would say in general, the answer is yes. There's some exceptions, of course, the atlas and the occiput and so forth, but yes. How come most chiropractors seem to not even know the mechanism behind what they are doing to fix you? Good ones are far and few between. That's why I like the Gonstead so much. Is that a systematic approach? Yeah. I'm in Alabama, and I'm almost convinced none are here. In the whole state? Yeah, it's possible. I have one of my best friends. He's actually in Colorado, and this guy's freaking a genius. He's a thinker. I thought I was nuts. But he's a thinker because he has to be. He's one of the only chiropractors in his town. His town is only like 5,000 people or something like that. I think there's another chiropractor in his town, but that guy ain't doing very good. So, anyway, my point is that this friend of mine, when his wife was pregnant, in order to have their children delivered, they had to get in their truck and drive like an hour and 15 minutes to the next town. In other words, there's no hospital. I think they have a dentist, or two dentists or something in their town, and that's it. I mean, my friend is it. And if you don't like his style of chiropractic, you're screwed, man, because there's no other chiropractors. So there's a lot of places. Some states have very few chiropractors. It's interesting when I graduated, when you look at like one of those things where you see the entire America, and there's a dot where every chiropractic is. And it's funny because in California, there's like millions of dots, except the majority of the dots are all along the coast. It seems like every chiropractor wants to be by the coast. Because quite frankly, man, I wouldn't want to live in the desert. You kidding? Forget that. So I'm going to go through some of the questions that people were asking that I supposedly promised that I was going to answer. And let me pull up those questions here. What is the best way to get rest with sciatic pain when it's in the hip down the leg? That's a good question. So the best solution for that, Carolyn, is Mackenzie. And you'd think that hanging upside down and stuff like that is good, but actually with sciatica, go to, again, after this is all over, go to the search function and type in either Mackenzie or type in sciatica, and you'll see a bunch of kind of first aid exercises that I show that work fantastic. They literally can eliminate the pain that's going down your leg. So give those a try. That's what I usually start out with patients if they have sciatica and nothing else works. After cycling, hanging is awesome. Do you stretch after riding? My chiro says not to. That's a good question. Actually, I think I have 4 or 5 videos on this. Right down the street from me, I have a park. And what I will do sometimes, not all the time, but as I'm riding home, I will stop at the park. And I will just do a quick kind of calisthenic thing. So if I'm doing a very kind of easy ride, or it's a rest day, at least once a week, I will stop by the park and I will just simply drop to the ground, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, and that way I just ride home and I'm done with my workout. And occasionally though, like actually tomorrow, I was planning on doing a longer ride. So just about 4 hours or so. And I was mainly gonna do hills. And when I ride hills, you're hunched over a lot and you're really using your backside to pedal. And so sometimes when I come home, I'll stop at the park and I will just hang from the bar. I feel fantastic. I love it. And so, but if you go use the search function when this is over, I keep saying that, but if you want details, I'm going to try to answer everyone's question. But the thing is that I do that stretch, but I usually am incorporating it with some pull-ups and push-ups. Let's see, blah, blah. He's an ABC chiro. Okay. I have a AAA and clips left from surgery. Okay. The $1 million question, do you suffer back pain ever? Yes, actually. When I was younger, I had a lot of sports injuries. And when I say sports injuries, it was before X Games. I grew up in the era when there was a drought in California, and people were forced by the state to empty their pools. And naturally, being the youngsters we were, we found our way into people's pools and skateboarded in their pools, and that's how all this stuff got started, was back in the 80s. And so I've had a lot of injuries. I don't really get back pain anymore, despite the fact that I have really bad one bad disc in my back. But basically what I do is I get adjusted about once a month myself, and then I basically do everything that I'm showing you guys how to do in the videos. The core exercises, I do those, so I'm not trying to BS you. This is actually what works to prevent back pain. I have never had a patient that came in with good alignment and excellent strength in their core that had back pain. It's almost like it's so easy that it makes way too much sense, and it's just such a simple answer. It just goes over people's head. There's got to be a more difficult solution to this. Not really. If you're in good alignment and you have adequate strength, you're going to do awesome with your back. So it doesn't bother me anymore. I could do anything. I could ride my bike. I could do a century in 6 hours, and my back is fine. So, all right. Let's see. Hello, doctor. Hello, doctor. Do chiropractic adjustments are enough for sciatic pain? The patient has a responsibility to do their prescribed corrective exercise at home on their own. These are questions. The answer is yes and yes. So do chiropractic adjustments help for sciatic pain? Yes. Is the patient responsible for doing exercises at home? Yes. Let's see. Do chiropractors accept health insurance now? Yes. Chiropractic has been accepted by the federal government for 50 years, Medicare. So Medicare started paying for chiropractic in the 1970s. And so that's like 50 years ago. So yeah, chiropractic is covered by insurance. The problem is insurance companies don't want to pay crap. They don't want to pay. They want to take your premiums, but they don't want to pay. So they're always finding ways to nickel and dime you, the customer. All right, so let's get into some other questions here. Let me pull those up. If there's nothing else, no immediate things. All right. Let's get into comments. I haven't looked at these at all. Okay, a question. Have low blood pressure, what to do? Okay. What do you do if you have low blood pressure? It depends how low. Is it a bad blood pressure where you're seeing a doctor and you're actually fainting all the time? If that's the question, there's probably some real problem that you have, and I think you should see a doctor. What about sitting on my heels a lot to stretch the quads? I mean, that's okay, right? For like half an hour to an hour a day. So Andrew's Cool is asking me, is it okay to sit on his heels for an hour? It's fine. Yeah, if you like to do that. That was on a video. Now I see where you're going. I did a video on the actual research on reasons why stretching is kind of a waste of time. And it's fascinating, I think, sometimes when you do something that's actually like a good video where you put all the research into it and stuff like that, and then nobody watches it, and you do a video about farts or something like that, and it gets 4 million views. My almond video went crazy. You guys should watch the almond video and the banana video. This is all about, should you eat almonds and bananas? I didn't think anybody was ever gonna care. And those videos did great. And the ones that I actually put effort into, like the stretching one, people go crazy over, but nobody watches. So anyway, I'm always, let's see, I'm always sitting on the floor with a cushion at home. And I'm thinking that it may be one of the factors that contributes to my back pain. My chiropractor says it's bad on the floor for long term. Well, here's the thing. How do you know if sitting on the floor is bad for your back? The $1,000,000 question is, does it hurt your back? Does your back actually feel better after sitting on the floor, or does it feel worse? If it feels worse, then it's very obvious that that is causing a potential factor in why you're getting back pain. All right. My husband's blood pressure, Brenda Rocco, my husband's blood pressure often is 100/47. Is that considered too low? The only time it's considered too low is if it's pathological and causing him to get faint and do things like that. But some people just have low blood pressure. Let's see. Let me find the question here. Okay, so Danielle Lewis, I have been dealing with extremely tight hamstrings for years. A back injury left my left leg numb. Okay, I do Pilates, however some moves my leg completely cramps and I can't continue with Pilates. Okay, I was reading recently that tight hamstrings is already stretched, tight like a rubber band, and that stretching it further won't help heal it. What are your thoughts on this? If I do any type of deep stretching, it hurts. Bingo. Bingo. Okay? That's the whole point that I'm trying to get across when it comes to the stretching. If you're stretching and it makes you worse, that's a problem. I don't know why that's hard for some people to get, but the thing is, I know why it's hard to get. And the answer is because there's so much conflicting information on the internet that we forget to listen to our own body. If stretching causes pain to the point where you can't continue the workout, then you gotta stop stretching. That's my opinion, but I'm just one other guy on the internet giving you information. That's the problem, because you can type up anyone and someone will be, you must stretch, stretching will cause everything. Okay, then how come I'm worse? That's the question you need to ask. So yeah, if stretching is causing problems, you gotta think. You don't listen to me, don't listen to everybody else, use common sense, and you'll see. I have terrible knee pain, the x-ray results bone on bone, bone spurs, I'm 66. What supplements? What supplements do you want to take? I have an idea. Try this first. There's a video that I made with regarding to exercising your knees when you have osteoarthritis. And it consists of buying some ankle weights, and it's 10 pounds per ankle for a total of 20 pounds. I leave you a link so you can get them directly sent to your door, the correct weights. And what you do is you hang off a chair and you let your feet dangle and you swing like a child that's antsy, okay? And it works wonders for osteoarthritis. I mean, it works fantastic. I have old people, and when I say old, I mean bloody old, you know? And they stand up and they go, oh my goodness, that feels good. And if they repeat it every day, it's almost like brushing your teeth. It just keeps you healthy. So I would look into that video. So just use the search function, you know, and find that video. Give that a try, okay? So I noticed there's new people here, by the way. If you look at the bottom of the screen in the description area, I have some merchandise. You can buy face masks, you can buy t-shirts, you can buy coffee mugs, all that stuff. I would appreciate it if you can purchase some merchandise. And then also right below Top Chat is a super chat or something like that. I don't even know what you call it. And if you can donate $1.99, $2.99 for this advice, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right. What can chiropractors do to help with spondylolisthesis? I heard it doesn't get fixed, but you can reduce the symptoms. What? Yes, that's what we can do. We can really help spondylolisthesis if done correctly. What would you recommend someone with a spondylolisthesis? Oh, okay, here's a good question. This is a good question. What would you recommend to someone with a spondylolisthesis but doesn't have pain? That's the best type of spondylolisthesis. So here's what you do. A spondylolisthesis needs stability. You do not need to stretch. You do not have pain. Do not, under any circumstances, try to stretch a spondylolisthesis. Don't do it. Hello? That's, of course, what I would recommend to a patient if they were in front of me. What I would show them are all 7 exercises that I recommend, the core exercises, except for the first one. Okay? So if you go to my channel and go to playlists, all my videos are divided up into sections. I got nutritional stuff, I got core exercise, there's 21 videos in that, watch them all, but there's some cycling ones and examples of treatment and stuff like that. Do the exercises number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's what I would do. If I had a spondylolisthesis, the most important thing I would do was I would start crazy strengthening my core to the point where you're a superstar. And that's going to make a big difference for that patient. Hey there, C, I don't have any herniated discs. I just took an MRI, my spine is fine. I got some fluid in the L5 to sacrum. It's given me sciatica symptoms, sometimes in both legs. Thanks. Okay. Thanks, Doc. Got it. Thank you. Appreciate it. If you want to give it a little super chat, that'd be great. Let's get to some questions. I'm 10 and I wear a size 9 in women's. How do I make my feet smaller? Okay, this video drives me nuts. Unfortunately, I've made my channel, I put on YouTube that children are not supposed to be watching this. Okay, it's adult information. I'm not catering to children. I don't want children on my channel. I don't want children watching my channel. So somehow or another, kids are watching my channel. And there's this thing, it's insane. People are insane when they go, I want my feet to be smaller. How can I make my feet smaller? And then usually that's the women. The men, the boys, are always, how do I make my feet bigger? How do I make my feet bigger? And I made videos about this, but they still ask. I get tons of questions all the time. Unfortunately, the only way to make your foot smaller is to squish it into a hard shoe, just like believe the Chinese used to do this, and to torture your foot to stun its growth. That's the only way to make a foot shorter. And these people, these poor people, were disabled from this idea that beauty has small feet. I don't know. My culture doesn't buy into that, so I don't know what to say other than watch the video, because I think what's happening is people are asking the question, but they're simply reading the title of the video and they're not even watching the video, because I say all this in the video. Whatever. What are your thoughts about taping any source? Kinesio tape, rock tape, etc. Does it help? Here's the thing with the taping. The first is it depends on the location, okay? If you look at my forearm here and you apply a tape to it, now you probably can't see this because well, maybe you can. You see the space in between the actual paper right here, okay? If you're gonna tape my elbow for a epicondylitis, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, that type of thing, you have to shave my arm, okay? You gotta shave my arm. So, because the tape doesn't do you any good if it sits on the hair. You gotta shave. And if you wanna put it on your legs, whether you're a female or male, you gotta shave your legs. If you wanna put it on your glutes, you're shaving your glutes. Men, and some women, nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, some people have on their spine quite a bit of hair, you know? So you're gonna have to shave your back if you're gonna put it on your back. I mean, you know, some of us have hair. So the kinesio tape and the rock tape, it really doesn't work unless it can be applied to the skin and stay on. It does give you a proprioceptive awareness of a problem and can help support it. Athletic taping has been around forever. It wasn't until, what Olympics was it? Was it 96, 2000? When Misty May and Carrie Walsh were just killing it in beach volleyball. That's when kinesio tape was around for a long time, but it wasn't really famous. And then Misty May and Carrie Walsh, they popularized kinesio tape, and forever after that, it was good. So it does support. I've used it on patients, but when you have a patient who's got a hairy back or a knee problem, and you gotta tell them, you gotta shave your legs. Unless they're a cyclist or swimmer, they're not doing it. So it has some limitations, if you know what I mean. All right, so let's see. I've been at this 56 minutes. I'm gonna do a couple more questions. If you got a question, you better ask quickly because it's gonna be over. Let's see here. Let's get to a question. Are blood pressure machines accurate? This is God has come into my body as an angelic body. It's a great title. Are these machines accurate? I have one at home. I wonder if reading it gives and one in the doctor's office would match. That's a good question. I actually have a video, you're not commenting on it, but I actually have a video where I took 3 different blood pressure machines. I took a wrist one, I took an arm one, and I did my old-fashioned one. So I actually listened to the pulse with a stethoscope. I pumped it up with my hand, didn't use a machine, and I compared the accuracy. And I have to say that a lot of these blood pressure machines, they are accurate. They can ballpark it extremely well. So, but sometimes some of them, the cheaper models will get goofy. An Omron is probably the best brand that you could use, but a lot of them are good. Okay, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I think I'm getting done because I'm running out of... Oh, here's one. If you eat a bunch of bananas, won't you get fat? Where do we go from here? Well, what are you eating the bananas with? Are you having a banana split? Or bananas and peanut butter? Or just bananas? That's such a tough question. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. I made a video called Bananas Are the Most Dangerous Food Ever, or something like that. Just type in bananas. Because a couple years ago, there was a whole hoopla. It's kind of like the eggs of 1980s. Like eggs were supposed to cause all our heart disease and stuff like that. Eggs were bad, you should never eat an egg. I think bananas had their moment. And I think the video is probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And even like they had a show on Dr. Oz, and they had this thin guy. He was thin. I mean, they should have picked a different guy, don't you? I mean, come on. They should have picked a bigger guy. So there was this thin guy, and they were attacking him. And when I say attacking him, I mean it was like verbal abuse attacking him, telling bananas are bad, they're gonna cause atrial fibrillation. And the guy was like, but I'm clean, I don't have any of that. And they go, yeah, but it's gonna cause you to get fat. And he's all, but I've been eating bananas, for a long time. And I don't remember how many bananas he was eating. It was like 10 or 12 per day, which, oh, heaven forbid a person should eat fruit. But it, it's like telling a thin person you're going to get fat if you eat that. On what grounds? Oh, there's so much sugar. Well, here's the thing. You know, if you go on a 6-hour bike ride, you know, banana has 120 calories or something like that, and you need that. It's not unheard of to eat, you know, 10 bananas if that's all you're eating, but you get bored. So I can generally eat, you know, if I'm really eating a lot of bananas, you figure you have one banana before your bike ride at breakfast, and then you go and you can really only fit about 4 bananas in your pocket when you ride. And quite frankly, you just get bored of eating bananas. You want something else. So you'll bring some other stuff. So if you bring 4 bananas, that'll last you about 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours. And then you have a Cliff Bar or something like that. And I've been experimenting with different gels, and I've been using, actually I'm gonna make a video about it, but I've been using syrup, maple syrup, natural maple syrup. And dang, it works good. I mean, it works really good. It's a little taking used to, but I just kind of got bored of gels, and sometimes I'll bring various things with me on bike rides, but you have to supply food. Now, as soon as I say that, you know what's going to happen? Someone's going to make a comment that, oh yeah, well, I ride 100 miles and I don't even eat any food because I'm keto and I just drink water. And it's like, well, that's great if you can do that, but most of us would rather not, you know? So no, you're probably, you know, I imagine some people will get fat if they eat a bunch of bananas, but a lot of times, you know, what are the stats now? Isn't it like 60 to 70% of all Americans are obese? Is that because they're eating too many bananas? I don't think it's the bananas, you know? So watch the video, see how you do. Let's see. I love your videos and explanation of techniques and philosophy on chiropractic. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you, Jody. Not gonna answer. Don't bait me. I don't like being baited. How can I train my cervical adjustments? How can you train your cervical adjustments? Is there any protocols or exercise you would recommend? Are you a chiropractor? I assume you're a chiropractor. Realistically speaking, after doing core exercises daily, how long until someone would notice benefits? Usually it takes, I tell people it takes about 2 months. Because the truth of the matter is that it's not like you can do a core exercise and suddenly tomorrow you're better. So you have to gain strength and stability. And what you're really trying to do is try to get that spine to stay stable and reduce the inflammatory response. The problem that is happening is that you've probably created this continuous inflammatory response built over a couple years. So you're trying to undo years of damage to your spine, and you're gonna have to give it a couple months for you to change that. And that's what I tell people for back pain. All right, you know what? I got a little while longer. 28 people are watching. Let's see what we got here. I was trying to get to all these questions, but you guys are really on top of this. I appreciate that. Just trying to help. Let's see here. Just looking for some questions. Agreed. Nella? Okay, this was the one, stop doing this. I just did this recently. What is a delaminated disc? Imagine discs are like donuts, and there's a center jelly, and the outside is a donut. But imagine instead of a donut, it's a croissant, and the outside of the donut is like a croissant. Well, you know how you could peel away the outer linings and it kind of pulls away. That's what I mean by delaminated. It's a medical term, but it's very simple. It means the fibers of the disc will separate. That's what that means. So hopefully that helps you. Let's see. Okay, so yoga. I like yoga. However, the challenge is that you can upset people that do yoga if you bring about the research. The unfortunate thing about yoga is that most of the research on stretching has been done because research has to have one factor that is different and all other factors are equal. And if you're doing 28 different poses, it's difficult to study yoga in general. So what happens is they study hamstring stretching, or they study hip flexor stretching, or pectoralis major stretching. And so most of the research on stretching has shown a number of things that are disfavorable to stretching. And I could easily, and I'm probably gonna do it, just to get some hits, I'm gonna put a video on how to stretch. It's easy because everyone agrees with it, except for a problem. Most of the research, it doesn't support a lot of the reasons why people stretch. So when you point this out, people think that yoga is bad. It's not bad. It's just that it's not the panacea for everything under the sun. That's all that they're saying. Let's see here. Could you make a video on adjusting a posterior sacrum? Yeah. By the way, thank you to my Patreon. I don't know if you're watching Clint Gibbs. I figured out who you were. I didn't know who you were. Sorry, but it was like slipped my mind. But actually, I watch your YouTube channel too, and I appreciate you becoming a Patreon of mine. And because of that, you asked a question, and I'm going to make a video just for you. I'm going to do it this weekend because after a 4-hour bike ride, you have nothing to do except put your feet up and just do nothing for the rest of the day except eat. And so I'm going to make a video just for you, and I appreciate you becoming a Patreon. So if you have a request, if you guys are watching and you have a request, you want me to make a particular video, I have people that have joined Patreon. There's a link down below where it says become a Patreon. And if you donate a certain amount of money per month to my channel to help me, and it supports my channel, it helps me buy the GoPros and buy the equipment, and it justifies my time to do this instead of spending time doing with my family. They're all downstairs waiting for me to get done. But it helps justify this. So anyway, if you become a Patreon and you have a specific question like adjusting the posterior sacrum, if you're not a Patreon, it's just on my list of things to do. But if you become a Patreon, I'll do it right away. Okay, so just consider that. How can chiropractic help with problems like frozen? So Chris, you're not a chiropractor then. Okay, so if you're not a chiropractor, oh, please do not try to do chiropractic adjustments. Don't do that, okay? YouTube, it's for entertainment purposes. It's not an instruction manual, okay? Please don't do this. Do you see this? By the way, I see this in my practice a lot. If people seeing stuff on YouTube, grabbing a belt, tying it around someone's neck and yanking across the bed. And I don't mean for, fun. And they come into us and they're like, oh, my husband did this or whatever, and I'm dying here. Okay, so you're a chiropractic student. All right, fine. So if you're a chiropractic student and you're saying, how can chiropractic help problems like frozen shoulder, bursitis, arthritis? They're going to teach you in school. That's why you're in school. Okay, so you're allowed to practice then, but do what the school says. Don't hurt people. Okay. Yeah, so how can they? You're learning in school. I don't know what trimester you're in, but eventually you will learn it. I can say the better you are at the first semester, the more you learn anatomy, the better off you'll be at understanding what you're doing in the remaining semesters. Don't skimp on, don't get a B, don't get a B plus, don't get an A. Master it. When you study anatomy, your goal is to not get 99%. Your goal is to get 100% on every test. You need to know that anatomy cold. The more you know anatomy, the better chiropractor you're going to be. That's just the way it is, okay? Let's see here. All right, 23 years old. I did too much yoga 5 times a week or more, like you said. Okay, here we go. Yeah. And then actually developed degenerative disc disease and cervical stenosis. You have a point that stretching isn't the be-all, end-all. I think yoga teachers are mostly guilty of overselling the benefits of stretching. Strength equally important. True. Okay. So the thing with mobility is there's a difference between mobility and flexibility. Flexibility is how far you could yank a joint. Mobility is how far you can control that joint. And that is really what you're looking for. Okay. Let's see here. If you have DOMs, suck it up, buttercup. Yeah, I forgot that I said that. Do you guys like it when your muscles are sore? Am I the only one that likes it? What do you think? Do you like soreness on your muscles? You know, I like it. I don't really get sore that much, other than when I change something. Do you have an opinion about this seemingly innate urge most mammals have to stretch? Yes, I do. I've often wondered if that urge, especially after sleep or long-term immobility, has a scientific basis. Well, that's a great question, Steve Trevor. Lions, tigers, and bears don't care what the scientific basis is. I mean, no one ever thought of that. The tiger doesn't get up and go, "Oh, that was a good nap." But I'm not sure if the scientific basis of that stretch was valid. That doesn't happen, man. So the thing is that my video called Waste of Time is not talking about that type of stretching. When someone does this in the morning, that's not stretching. What we're talking about with the stretching in that video is the 30 seconds, touch your toes. 30 seconds, grab your knee, pull it up to your chest. All these weird stretches that people come up with. That's what I was talking about. So, yeah, animals can give a rat's about scientific basis. So, and you don't want to upset the tiger when it's trying to stretch. They usually get mad and they bite. So let's see, Jessica Wilson. I have Crohn's disease. I'm sorry to hear that. And I get severe joint pain. I can't even walk at times. I'm currently having physical and occupational therapy 4 days a week. Yes. Crohn's disease is a terrible disease to have. Okay, let's see. We got some. Okay, evidently I've got a lot of what do you call those trolls on my comments here. Let's see. Okay, so I love these, and I agree with you, Mr. DeSoto 33. I don't know about the junk science behind stretching doesn't improve athletic performance. Well, the thing is, Mr. DeSoto, I put all the references in the video, like, you know, small things like British Medical Journal, junk science. You know, people will use the word junk science and stuff to invalidate It's really, it's like name calling. But the thing is that all the references are there, man. Now, if you find stretching helpful, go for it. I think when you see comments like this, it's they haven't watched the video, because at the end of the video, I explained, what you said. It's just they see the title and the comment, which, at least give me the 10, at least give me the 1/20th of a penny. Let's see. I don't stretch, just lap the furnace in basement 20 minutes and twist the body while running. It's called that's the warm-up. That's called the warm-up. So let's see what else. Okay, so again, video, that's a lie. I've taught stretch, and it's a great form for athletes, older adults, and others. This is very misleading. Many will not agreement. I understand. You're not supposed to agree. Not everybody's. Okay, so raisins. I did a video on raisins. What are the insoles? So these G8 insoles, they're pretty good. What about if you pronate or supinate? Is there a heel wedge to add? And the answer is yes, it does come with a heel wedge. Oh, Jessica, you have Crohn's disease and osteoporosis, and 9 fractures, 2 ribs, and 5 fractured vertebrae in your lower back. Wow, that's rough. That's why you're in physical and occupational therapy. Okay, here, let's find a couple more. Masks are the biggest jokes ever. It says right on the packaging they don't work for coronavirus. That's interesting. I haven't even read the package. Good to know. So here's one, Damien. I have a quick question. I have a herniated disc at L5-S1. Let's see, back pain is not so big, but I have another serious problem. I have a really bad calf cramp in my right leg. It's really annoying because I can't live normal. Whether surgery is necessary or I could solve my problem with exercises, I've been exercising for a week. Okay, so it takes longer, Damien, than a week to cure that type of sciatica. So I would say go to your doctor, show them the exercises that you're doing, see if they can show you other things. And just because you have a herniated disc does not automatically mean you need surgery. Let's see. Can it be cured? Can what be cured? Let me go back and see what your problem is here. Okay, God has come into my body as an angelic body. Tell me what the problem is, because you're asking me can be cured. What are we talking about? What can be cured? What is it you want cured? So let me know. Just answer. Let me get to another one. Let's see here. Do I have any experience with the Bontrager commuter charge? I think that's the helmet. I don't. I bought the Wave Cell primarily. This is for Iona. I bought the Wave Cell because of it. I drank the Kool-Aid. It came out and it was supposedly the safest helmet that has been developed for cycling. And I was just literally the day before needed a new helmet. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. Whatever it takes, safest helmet, whatever they say, right? And so I bought it, and actually it's a very good helmet. It's not as hot as you'd think. However, it is heavy. So, if you go on long bike rides, you do notice it. I still have it. I didn't get rid of it. But what happened was I was racing cyclocross, and it was an unseasonably hot race season, and I just didn't want to wear the helmet. So I got a different helmet, a specialized helmet that's in my videos, and I used that for when it's hot, because I do agree that this wave cell. I mean, when you put the helmet on, you can tell. If you're going to hit your head, you'd rather have this helmet. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Why do you focus on blood pressure? Because it's a major problem. Like 1/3 of Americans have high blood pressure, and the statistics are half of them don't even know it. When a new patient comes in, a lot of times I'll check their blood pressure, and we catch high blood pressure, and it's not white coat syndrome, black scrub syndrome. A lot of people don't know it, and if you do things, the blood pressure is a great marker. It's almost like blood sugar. If you can get a patient to lower their blood sugar and lower their blood pressure, oh man, you have found a way to inexpensively, dramatically change their health. You know, back in the 80s, if you showed up at a doctor with so much as a sniffle, you got a blood test, a urine test, a CAT scan, MRI, PET scan, nerve conduction velocity test. They did all these tests, $10,000 worth of tests. And, you know, sometimes the easiest tests are the cheapest. Blood pressure is easy to monitor. It's easy to change. Blood sugar is easier. It's not as easy. It's easier to check than other things, because you can just get one at the pharmacy, and you could learn how to check your own blood sugar. You could learn how to check your own blood pressure. You can monitor these things as you make lifestyle changes, and when you make those lifestyle changes, you could dramatically affect people. If I use an MRI, well, that's expensive, and some people don't get an MRI machines. The second thing is you can also use X-ray, and some people will use X-ray as a marker of health. The problem is, if you're X-raying a person's neck, you're always radiating their thyroid. If you X-ray their chest, you're always radiating their breasts. How many women want their breasts radiated? Don't raise your hand, you know. If you X-ray their lumbar and pelvis, you're always radiating their gonads. So X-rays can be expensive. You can't do yourself. Blood pressure is easy. So that's why I focus on it, because it's like one of the easiest things to measure and easiest things as a marker of health. You find me a patient that's got good blood sugar, that's got good blood pressure, that's got adequate strength of their core and good alignment. Forget about it, right? Let's see. Herniated disc. Okay, so can you cure a herniated disc? Yes, most of the time. Not all times. It's not 100%. Do you have any tips for strething? Is it stretching that you want? Do I have any tips for stretching? Any exercise I can do to build muscle back? Yes. So if you go to my channel, and there's a section called playlists, and under playlists, there's 21 videos. Some of them are like 2 minutes long. Watch all of them. And I'm not trying to be self-serving here, but I've given everything away in that playlist under core. And the answer is yes, you can definitely get strong in your back. You want me to keep talking blood pressure? I've made like 102 videos on it. So watch those. There's nothing more to say almost. Hi doctor, how are you? I'm doing great. Your blood pressure is 136/77. That's awesome. Hiking benefits blood pressure, question mark. Yes, exercise does. You know what? I just ran low on batteries. So I appreciate those that have done the super chat. I have ran out of battery on my phone. So we're gonna end it tonight. And once again, hey, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for being a supporter of my channel. And I think this is the first time someone's got to do it. Give me a thumbs down, you know? I mean, someone's got to give me a thumbs down. There's always a dude who's giving you a thumbs down. And it doesn't bother me one bit because they had to watch the video to do it, right? So, if you have any further questions, I'm going to be live next week. I ran out of time and ran out of battery. So next week, Friday, I'm going to do another live presentation if everything works out okay. And I'm going to go see my family. And you guys have a great weekend.